Every gardener wants compost that works harder with less effort, and over the past 2 years, nothing has outperformed what I now call my living layer compost. This method relies on one principle: if you feed the soil surface continuously with balanced organic material, the soil life, worms, microbes, fungi, will do the turning for you. No forks, no flipping, no sweating over a steaming pile. It's essentially composting in place, but with a structured approach that produces nutrient-rich humus in a fraction of the time. My December 2025 update brings new refinements and results that surprised even me. If you've been struggling with slow compost, compacted beds, nutrient gaps, or inconsistent soil performance, this method is worth adopting right now. Winter is when traditional compost piles slow to a crawl. Low temperatures stall microbial activity, material compacts and moisture fluctuations create anaerobic pockets, but with a living layer, the soil itself becomes the compost engine. Even in December, the ground holds residual warmth, and the organisms living inside it remain active beneath the surface. By feeding that biological layer directly, you maintain decomposition speed even when outdoor compost bins become dormant. This December alone, my layers broke down nearly twice as fast as the material in my freestanding pile, simply because the soil life never stopped working. The system relies on 3 layers: carbon, nutrient, and microbial ignition. The first component is the carbon layer: dry leaves, shredded paper, straw, spent mulch, anything light and carbon-rich. This layer absorbs moisture, prevents mats from forming, and allows air movement. I apply it 1 inch deep across the bed. The second component is the nutrient layer. This is where you add nitrogen and minerals. Grass clippings, chopped weeds, fresh kitchen scraps, or spent plant material work perfectly. In winter, I use primarily kitchen waste mixed with aged coffee grounds. Spread this layer thin, about ½ an inch, so that it remains oxygenated. The third component is the microbial ignition layer. This is what wakes up the biology during cold months. I've tested several options this year and found that a small scattering of finished compost, worm castings, or even handfuls of rich garden soil dramatically speeds everything up. On weeks when I used worm castings, fungi spread through the layer within days. Once these 3 layers are added, you'll want to lightly dampen them. Moisture is essential, but honestly, you want the material to feel like a wrung-out sponge, never soggy. This winter produced several insights that, well, really strengthened the method. The first refinement was switching from whole leaves to leaf shreds. In December, unshredded leaves tend to freeze into stiff mats and, shed water, but when shredded, they actually insulate the ground, allow airflow, and break down quickly. 1 bag of shredded leaves now covers an entire bed effectively. The second refinement was moving from weekly to bi-weekly nutrient additions. Because the soil stays cooler in winter, materials break down steadily, but not explosively. Applying nutrient layers every 2 weeks kept everything balanced and prevented overloading the microbe community. When I applied weekly, the material began to sour slightly. Every 2 weeks solved the problem entirely. The third refinement was adding small amounts of mineral sources: wood ash, crushed eggshells, basalt dust. Just a tablespoon or 2 across the surface gave the biology the minerals needed to break down carbons efficiently. These minerals also end up in the resulting humus, making it richer and more plant-ready by spring. One of the biggest surprises this season was how quickly worms moved upward after each layer application. Worms seek warm, nutrient-rich environments, and even in December they'll rise into the living layer whenever fresh material is added. By mid-December, the top inch of my beds held more worms than I typically see in April. They left behind dense worm castings that knitted the layer together and accelerated breakdown. Even during a frosty stretch when temperatures dropped below freezing, the worms retreated only briefly before returning as soon as temperatures moderated. This alone is enough reason to use the method. Worm activity provides constant aeration and delivers some of the most complete plant nutrition you can create. The beauty of this method becomes obvious when spring arrives. Instead of a messy layer of half-broken scraps, the entire surface transforms into dark, crumbly, sweet-smelling humus. I've consistently found that the top 2 to 3 inches of each bed by March are richer than anything my compost pile produced in the same time frame. There's no need to dig it in. The worms and microbes have already pulled it downward. You simply rake the bed level and begin planting. This method has become the backbone of my soil regeneration strategy because it produces results with almost zero effort. Feeding your soil through a structured living layer system is one of the simplest, most reliable, and most efficient ways to generate compost in winter. No piles, no turning, no heat maintenance, just layered organic matter that breaks down naturally, steadily, and deeply into the soil profile. If you're tired of slow winter composting or want richer beds by early spring, this approach is worth adopting immediately.